Hi. We're gonna need outtakes.
He said, hi.
Here we are. My name is Tyler Souza, better known as Ralph these days, and I am here with the one and only C Truth. C Truth, how you doing today, Mr. Truth?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Today's a good day. Today's a beautiful day.
What is it? Monday? Monday after the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I'm about to start podcasting.
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, the day after the Super Bowl, I think about making it a holiday. Anyway, but no, the reason I am here today is to talk a little bit about you, my friend. You've recently put out a project called Toxic Time. That's what we're going to be discussing mostly today.
Toxic time.
But first and foremost, I thought we could discuss a little bit about you.
What would you like to know, Mr. Ralph?
Well, over the years, and I guess I've known you for, gotten close with you for getting close to 10 years.
Feels like that.
And I was wondering, you're a man of many names. We'll say Chris Tyrell,
That was a name.
CTZ.
CTs.
No one's coming.
No one is coming.
But C Truth has been the one that has stuck with you throughout the years. And I was just curious as to what makes that name special to you, that has stuck with you.
I like the duality of it. I think music for me, or just like life in general, is like light and dark. And seeing the truth, you see like the good and the bad. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I am the truth. I'm saying I see it. You know what I mean? And I'm just an observer of life, and I think I put that in my music, and I think that makes sense for who I am. Like I know the good and the bad of things. I don't always do the good thing,
Right.
or I do some. You know what I mean?
But you see it.
But I
You
seen
peep
it. I seen it.
So do you think you see the truth in like people?
For sure. Especially as I've gotten older. I'm getting way better at that because, I mean, like naturally we put expectations on people. We think people are better than they usually are or worse than they usually are. Um, but the truth is in actions. You know what I mean? You see what it is when people are tested in adversity. So
Well, do you see the lies in people? No, I'm just kidding.
see lies.
I know you consider yourself like a pretty well-rounded person, and you're certainly one of the most solid dudes I know. Where do you think that comes from? Is it upbringing, from your amazing woman that your mother is? Where you grew up.
Like for sure, my family. I have a wonderful family. My dad wasn't around, but my dad is like he says I am the truth. You know what I mean? If I'm C truth, because I
He is
am
the
the
truth.
truth. You know what I mean? So I have a really open and honest family and a relationship with both my parents. So when it comes to like feelings or when it comes to hardships, they talk to me as a person, not as like a kid. You know what I mean?
That's
And my
important.
grandfather instilled a lot of like greatness inside me as well. As far as like manners, he put church in my life
Mhm.
when I was a kid. When I was a kid, so I would say the honesty from my parents and my grandfather's like spirituality like definitely put a good
For sure. No, you
put
can
a good
see it.
thing
I
on
mean,
me.
I think a lot of the stuff you just said still plays a really important role in your life. And I'll try not to talk like I'm somebody who knows you well and do an interview here. But so the project is called Toxic Time,
Toxic time
and it's out now.
on all
Um,
platforms.
you can still buy it if that's where you buy music. If you're still buying music, buy that shit.
Someone said
Oh,
that to
I
me
was
the
gonna
other
try
day.
not to curse, so I'll have to bleep that. So I guess the first thing I want to ask is, what does it mean to be toxic?
To be a danger to oneself and those around him.
Wow. And do you consider yourself a toxic person?
I definitely was. I'm in the process of like purging that. Like this album for me was like purging that. But for the last like 4, 5 years, I was pretty toxic. Unbeknownst to me, like I didn't realize. I thought I was just protecting myself. You know what I mean?
So is that kind of what this album or this project, I don't know if you want to call it an album or not. I guess it kind of is.
It's an
But,
album. It says it on Apple Music and stuff.
do you think that's kind of a reflection of you looking back at those times? Is that what you would say?
I would say this is like letting it all on the table as far as like the fuckery. Like I'm really like I'm older now, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
the fuck shit is cool, but if you really want to build something, like you can't be toxic. You know what I mean? Like it's just I was destroying myself. You know what I'm saying? I was drinking, messing around a whole lot of women and trying to be in relationships that weren't working out, and I was hurting people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because one of the things that I had written down is like as someone who I believe knows you pretty well, like I don't consider you a toxic person,
That's the crazy part about it, right?
right? So like, but now you've kind of made yourself synonymous with it.
Yeah.
Was that intentional?
Not it's like more so of like saying the truth, saying
Yeah,
what it is. You know what I mean? This like the things that we ingest is toxic, but they dress it up very nicely.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like McDonald's is not good for you.
no, but it's up,
Probably
but
toxic
it's
for
on
you,
every commercial
but
break.
it's on everywhere. Beer is not good for you. You
Hmm.
know, Red Bull is not. All these things are not good for you, but we ingest those things because we like them.
Yeah,
You know, and we want those things. And I enjoy some of those toxic things, but I now know that they're not good for me.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? I am synonymous with that because that was my truth. You
mhm.
know what I mean? And I think music is self-expression, and that's what we try to do when we both make music. Is try to be honest with ourselves, our authentic selves. And I just wanted to be my authentic self and release that. I hadn't released music in like 7 years, and I had been through a lot. And this was like kind of me coming to that culmination of just letting all that shit out.
So if being toxic is like working all day and getting dirty, and then is making the song like is like making music about it, like showering.
Detoxifying. Essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially. I mean, yeah, it's a therapy. It's a therapy part. You know what I mean? Like letting the stuff out, you know? I think if people usually people don't have I was talking to my cousin the other day, and I was like, "What do you do like to express yourself? Like what do you do?"
Mhm.
Cuz most people don't have those things. Some people have the gym. I have music where I can write down the
Right.
exact thing that happened in an
Mhm.
artistic manner that allows me to feel better about what happened or what occurred. And that's me detoxifying myself. Now, some people don't have that, and they
Right.
remain toxic, and that's called hurt. And then hurt people hurt people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. One of the prominent things though that I'll say that like one of the more prominent themes of the album or project, whatever you decide to label it as, um, is like an unwavering confidence almost, like I would say. And I know that's kind of part of like rap music, I would say, like being like kind of braggadocious and
Yeah.
um but it was not something that you've always done
Mm-mm.
in your music. You're usually pretty vulnerable. But
Yeah.
this is a little bit different. And so I guess what the next question I'd want to ask is like, do you think that there is a bit of toxicity in being so like confident in yourself?
Too much of anything is bad. You know, I had to learn the balance of that, like of either being too sad or too confident. You know, there's a balance. The parts of that in the album are based off of like there was this one point when I first came back, I had to fake it till I made it. Like I had to
Hmm.
really put on that coat to be like, yo, I'm him.
Yep.
Because I really wasn't, but I had to feel like it. You know what I mean? And that was not a good thing necessarily. Um, but that bravado is part of delusion, you know? People who think that they're the shit when they're really not.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's a part of toxicity. Those we hate those people. I hate those people.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a coping mechanism. It's a protecting mechanism when you're hurt to be like, I'm him, I'm really that. Like, excuse me. You shouldn't have to do that if you are that.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is an important trait sometimes because if you don't have confidence in yourself, you don't move forward, you don't move the appropriate way sometimes. Sometimes you're in a room where being confident might benefit
It might
you.
help you for
So
sure.
do you think that it's important to be toxic sometimes?
There's a quote that I wrote on my one of my walls. I was like, it's there's always like there's like what is it? There's always an appropriate time to be selfish. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, or confident. All those things are there's an appropriate time to be those people,
mhm.
but being it too long is where it becomes dangerous. You know what I
Toxic.
mean? Yeah, toxic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to say real quick, the reason why it's called toxic time initially is because of you. You know what I mean?
Well, oh, because of the podcast?
Yeah, the podcast, and you just putting the battery in my back and being like, "Yo, bro, like you could just make an album, call it Toxic Time." I was like, "Really? I'm gonna do that." You know what I'm
I
saying?
do remember that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a text
I
thread that
definitely
we
didn't
had.
think, you know, and that kind of leads me to my next question actually, which is like, last, effort, if you want to call it, or project that you put out was, I believe, over 5 years ago.
It's
Almost, it was like
2017.
5 years ago.
2017.
So why now? Like if is it now that that you've decided to come out of your bat cave and kind of show the world what you've been working on? And I know, like as you just kind of said it, I've been, kind of on you about it
Right,
in the
right,
past,
right.
but you can't do that forever. You know what I mean? You can't beat someone down, like, be like, "Yo, you
Like,
gotta
you
put
gotta do it.
music
Yeah,
out."
yeah, yeah.
They gotta do it on their own.
Yeah.
So as much as you wanna give credit to me, and I appreciate that, a little bit of
Right.
credit to me, I appreciate that. You had to do this, you know what I'm
For
saying?
sure, for
So,
sure.
like, what do you have, like, a I know it's tough on the spot, but, like,
No.
a reason that, like, maybe why now's the time? Now's the toxic time?
Now is the time where I feel the most confident in myself. Like, I feel like I'm aware of myself. The first efforts, I felt that same way. Like when we
Mhm,
had the hub, when it's
mhm,
everybody, we were all making music. I felt that same way, but it was like the ego was really big. You know what
mhm,
I mean? And then I moved away, and then I got into, you know what I mean? I got into a relationship, all these
mhm,
things that happened, and I kind of was disheartened from that confidence. I was a shell of myself. So it took like four years to really for me to build myself up again. You know what I mean? Learning through different relationships, going to
mhm,
therapy, and being brutally honest with myself. And even to the point right now where I don't drink anymore. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be a man as
mhm,
opposed to like a kid who can rap. I'm trying to be a man that is living his truth.
mhm,
Most like that's the first and foremost thing. So why now? Because the time is now. You know, I've learned that focusing on other people has never gotten me anywhere. You know, and the things that are meant for me will come to me as long as that I'm living in my purpose and doing what I'm called here to do, which is to help people, impact people. You know, and for me, I have to express myself.
mhm.
I'm blessed to have a talent to do so. Um, and why not share it with people that I love?
Yeah,
And
for
like that's what
sure.
you told me. Like why don't you share this stuff? Like if you make something, like you almost make it to like to share with other people. Like you play your music to people.
I do.
I don't do that often.
Yeah.
But you were telling me like you should do that. You know what I'm
Because,
saying?
to stick with the theme here, you at a point had a toxic relationship with music. You were
This
creating
nigga went. Oh,
you were
this.
creating music just to sit and listen to it by yourself in your room, which, and don't get me wrong,
Mm.
I won't speak to the audience who won't understand this, but if you have ever been a creative, it is maddening to just create and create and create and not share it. So, and don't get me wrong, there's a part of it that is still like satisfying, right? To
Yeah,
be
for
like, "Oh, I
sure.
made this. Like,
Yeah.
this is dope, and I'm enjoying it, and I like listening to it." But Rick Rubin, I think it is, who says, the final step of creating is sharing. And You
Sharing, yeah.
you haven't created something if you're not sharing. And
This is
so,
true.
I know that's not really a question, and I kind of just did my own thing there,
Nah, but you got it.
but
It's
it
fine.
is it's important. I think understanding for maybe the audience that really actually cares about you as an artist, that this was not something that just happened overnight. So.
Nah, this is a
Um,
work in progress for sure.
so one more question about like kind of the creation of music. Are you someone who can just like walk down into your studio and be like, I'm gonna work on a song, I'm gonna make a song right now, or does it have to be like, do you have to does inspiration have to come? Like, does it have to be a moment where you're like, oh, I'm feeling this right now, or can you sit down and be like, let me make something?
it's like it's like it's one or the other. Like I can go down there and try to make a song, and I usually just make incomplete songs a lot of the time. And sometimes it hits, and sometimes I'll sit on it, and then I'll catch it the next day. But what it's been for the last like year has been I'll just sit down in the studio, I'll catch a beat, start an idea, and if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, I'll go sit down and take my ass to sleep. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I'm not gonna force shit. You know what I
That's
mean?
that's an important part of creation. I think that a lot of people where they get down on themselves about not being able to create in the moment. I've had times where I can't write for, a month,
Yeah.
and that used to really freak me out because I'd be like, "Fuck, I'm losing it," and try to force myself out of writer's block.
Right.
But at this stage of knowing myself as a creative, I know that it comes back. You know
It
what I'm
does. It
saying? It
always
always
does.
comes
It
back.
always
I don't get
does.
down on myself. If I need to take a couple weeks and do nothing but play PlayStation and go out and fucking meet people and
Do
get
that.
drunk, I do it.
And don't feel bad
And I
about
don't
it.
feel bad about it
That's the
because
main thing.
that is the
That's
main
the
thing.
main thing.
Because if you start feeling bad about it, it completely loses its
Hell
purpose.
yeah. Every time.
Um, so back to the album. What is your favorite song?
Right now it's Couldn't Be, which is an
Mm,
interlude.
yeah.
I love that song a lot because first and foremost, I made GDA and Couldn't Be in the same night, like right back, like back to back within like an hour. And I wanted to write more to it, and I was like, nah, nah, nah. They just felt good, like for how they were. And I didn't write them down. I just felt that, like I just felt those lines, and I was belting my heart out. You know what I mean? And they just felt the most real.
Mhm.
and I think the songwriting was genuine too. Um, and I really want to get more into that type of songwriting, like the vulnerability that you were
Mhm.
talking about, like not so much the bar rap, but the sacred part of being like in your room and talking that real shit and using these metaphors and
Mhm.
this description that people love to do in when writing.
And those are the songs that people seem to be resonating the
Really,
most with too,
yeah.
as well. So is there any like, have you received any like feedback or like maybe someone who shared? Has anyone reached out to you that you're like, oh wow, you listened to my album or shared it or something where it kind of like caught you by like, wow, that's really cool.
I mean, honestly, I was not expecting the feedback that I got in general. Like I was expecting just like my homies and a few people around that to share it.
Mhm.
But like I had like almost 60 to like 80 shares of people just like sharing it on their stories. Like
Yeah,
my story was blocked up.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I
and I
love
and
that.
I missed a couple of people, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I had the most love that I felt in a long time. Um
And I told you you would, man. I
yeah.
know, but see, that's like the instant gratification of actually completing the creation process.
Yeah.
It's people being able to tangibly, excuse me, hold it, and we're both drinking carbonated drinks and
Yeah, we're
energy.
bourbon.
Um, but yeah, I think that's such an important part of to actually see how the people react, and it can actually inspire you to keep going. So that's why I knew once you did it, man, it would be like it would be inspiring.
I have a
This
question. What was your favorite song?
I go back and forth because "Run That Back" was my favorite song for
Yeah.
a long time. But I think it might be "Toxic Time," man.
Yeah, that's
Actually, the titular song.
yeah. And
Um,
we kept it because before I just had it as TTT,
mhm.
and then you were like Toxic
No,
Time.
yeah.
It looks
Because
better.
because yeah, because it's not. Yeah, well, yeah, because it's not like Toxic Time with TZ. It doesn't.
No.
Where's the third
Yeah.
T? Nobody
Yeah.
knows where
No
the
one
third T.
knows. No
No,
one
no,
knows what
unless
it
they're
is.
like a diehard
Right.
podcast. Shout out to our kickbackers, but they don't know where that third T comes from. So
Kickbackers. Did we ever
um,
do that before? We didn't call.
kickbackers.
That's what we're calling them.
Oh
Look at
shit. um, a couple more. So this one's kind of fun. If you could choose any song on your project, and you could go anywhere in the world, shoot the music video, what song would it be, and where would you go?
that's pretty hard.
I know.
Um, I
I
listen.
know.
I'm not really a visual person, but like I'll just go what just came to my mind because
Hmm.
what I'm really kind of I really kind of like Love Again for a visual, and I just see like the coast of like California,
Mm.
like like the cliffs
Yeah, PCH.
and like an overhead camera and like somebody running in like the I don't know. I just kind of like that look of the overhead camera and the colors of
That'd be
California.
dope. I could see that.
Yeah.
Um,
Even though it's just only
you.
California, it's nothing like fucking crazy like Abu dhabi or some shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
No,
really
that's.
I'm like very minimalistic like when it comes to things, and I think that's what I really want to focus on for my next visuals, like the minimalism of everything, and not try to make things too
I
complicated.
think the beautiful thing about that though is that's what's popular right now. A lot of
Yeah.
minimalistic shit. That's like, 'cause I think the whole idea of creativity nowadays is that at least the thing I've always liked about music and sharing and everything in my like the last like 10 years is that anyone can do it.
Yeah.
If you're someone who cares enough about it and you have the drive and the you know thankfully the people around us that like we do to support it, it's anyone can do it. So I think that definitely is a nice vibe, the minimalistic thing. And almost done here. But do you think you got enough toxicity left in you for a toxic time too?
I hope not. Like I'm I've really not saying that these are all the songs that I created. I created like almost like 50 to 60 songs um in that same element of things, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because of what I was going through. But I pray so. You know what I mean? I'm kind of over this phase. I think that there's a time to be toxic. You know what I mean? Just like everybody has their whole phase. I think it's like the same it's like the same thing, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to be that forever. And I want a family, you know what I'm saying? I want a woman, maybe a wife or something like that. Like I want those things. And you can't be toxic and try to have things that are like sacred like that, like a real relationship, like a real John, you know what I mean? And kids and houses and stuff like that, and a
Yeah.
business
No,
partner and all
yeah.
this. Like I'm trying to really be a good person and be the best version of myself. And you can't be toxic doing it. That's just played out.
I
I'm not
like
with it.
I like that. Yeah, the toxic is what you're leaving in the past.
Yeah.
Um, hey, I mean, that's really, I think, most of what I had for you. I just want to say though, congratulations, dude. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you, bro.
It was super dope to help you out how I could. You know what I mean?
You
As much as
fucking
I
helped
could.
out a lot. Like if it wasn't for you and Justin, I really wouldn't have put this out here. Like really wouldn't have released it. Um, I was twiddling my thumbs, um, and I just wasn't really believing in myself. For some reason, when Justin had said to me, he was like, "Bro, you're really good, bro. Like you should." It just hit different. Because I respect him as a creative and stuff like that, and he's someone who was like new to my circle. Like y'all knew
Mhm.
him, but I didn't really know him, and he really just like, oh, he said, "I believe." Like he looked him dead, like dead in my eyes, and like I don't know, just sparked something in me. Beyond the fact that you telling me toxic time and stuff like that, I was still twiddling my thumbs and
Mhm.
with the idea. But he was like, "Let's just go," because he's a let's go get
Yeah,
it type of
he's the
guy.
go get it dude. Yeah, for
And
sure.
so that definitely made everything happen. Plus, like I'm getting like closer to God in my life right now. And so like I just feel like I'm trying to be grateful for the things that I have. Like and I have someone who can master stuff. I have somebody who shoots visuals and pictures. I have like friends with ideas. I have my boy Marcus that wants to manage me. I have all these things around me.
Mhm.
Why am I not using them?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's because I didn't think that I was like worthy to use those things or I hate asking for people for shit. I like doing it myself. So without you guys, I mean, especially without you like mastering everything and just being there for me and you know what I mean? And Justin as well, like bro, I really appreciate both you guys. Without you guys, this project definitely wouldn't have happened. So
I think I can speak for both of us when I say we appreciate you too, man. So thank you, man. Thanks for you know, being you, man.
thanks.